Hey everyone, how are you? It's Colleen Suchecki here, and I am very excited to be here. I feel very inspired to share this video. All about really how can you show up for your kids right now as a parent, as a human being, as a compassionate, loving person, with anxiety and depression skyrocketing in kids, especially teens, especially over the last 18 months with everything they've been through. I think it's more important than ever that we look at these things and we show up for our kids in a way that maybe we never even have before. So I have 3 things that I really want to share that I think is going to maybe help you look at things in a new way. Maybe some of it will be triggering for you. Maybe you'll be like, yeah, screw you, Colleen, but it's okay because I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to share what I feel is absolutely essential information and how we're moving forward and how we're really so much is shifting in our society, so much is shifting on our planet. And I think that there's a time right now, there's no better time to upgrade how we're doing things, including how we're showing up as parents. So, okay, so the first thing that I want to share, and I'll always, please feel free to say hi, please feel free to comment on what I'm saying, anything that really sticks out for you, any ahas you have. I always love to come back and read these if you're not on live, but okay, so the first thing that I want to touch on is family and societal conditioning around parenting. Now, we could probably talk for days on this one alone, but I'm going to just choose one just to kind of give you an example and kind of give you something to think about. So the one that I feel is pretty prevalent in society, and I know in a lot of families, is this conditioning that the parent is the authority figure, that they are really like the child is here, like, you know, kind of like to be a slave, to like do whatever the parent says. Like that saying, you know, children are to be seen and not heard. Like there's a lot of societal and family conditioning around the parent being the authority and them knowing best and them always telling the child what to do, no matter what age the child is. And I really think that we have gotten to a place of evolution where this is very outdated. This is not to say that there aren't boundaries and rules, okay? So don't misinterpret, don't mishear what I'm saying. I'm not suggesting that everything is a complete free-for-all. But what I am saying is to really look at how were you parented growing up? What was the dynamic like? Did you have a say in the choices that you were making, whether it was the activities you did or the school you went to or the hobbies you had? Like, did you have a say, or were things just kind of like, were you kind of told like, you're going to do this and now you're going to do this and then now you're going to do that? I think that is, again, like I'm saying, I think it's incredibly important right now to realize how detrimental that can be for a child, no matter what age they are, that old paradigm and that old conditioning that I am the all-known being over you and you just have to do what I say and you have no say. So, again, this may be a very unpopular opinion or belief that I'm bringing up because maybe this is how you were brought up, or this was just like, you weren't taught to question authority, right? Like so many issues right now in our societies because we've been programmed, don't ever question authority, right? Well, I think that's a load of crap. So anyways, I think it's actually very, very healthy to encourage our kids to think for themselves, to have their own opinions, to have choices in how they're structuring and how they're living their lives. And obviously that's going to like look differently for a 5-year-old than it would a 17-year-old. Okay. Okay. So the second thing I want to touch on is what really helps someone show up as a parent in a much deeper way to create a deeper connection with their child is to heal their own trauma. I am proudly going to share that one of my greatest accomplishments in this life to this point is my relationship with my children. I have healed a lot of my own stuff from my childhood that has allowed me to really show up in this very loving, compassionate, authentic, powerful way that I wasn't able to do before, you know? So here's the thing is that the experiences that our kids go through, whether it's like stuff with friend drama or stuff at challenges at school or challenges in other relationships, those experiences that our kids go through can actually trigger our own trauma. So we could have someone, you could have a child that's like, let's say 10, and they're going through something similar that you did at the age of 10. And so not only do you have like to show up for your child and go through what and be a guide and going what they're going through, but if you don't do your own inner work to process that trauma and to deal with whatever it is that you need to deal with and integrate it, then basically you're going to be showing up with your kids in a trauma response. So you might show up in a very different way. You might be very easily agitated or very easily triggered or just not able to see like the big picture. So if you're not dealing with your own childhood trauma, then unfortunately you're going to be showing up for your kids in what is like a trauma response. And that's really not going to be what is going to serve you or them. Another way to kind of, another thing that's really important around healing your own trauma is that you cannot give another being something that you cannot give yourself. So let's just say, if you grew up in a situation or you had many experiences that made you feel like you're not lovable, right? Like you're not enough, that you don't matter, and you don't do anything for your own healing to heal those experiences, then you're not, like, the capacity to love yourself is going to be very limited because you have this core wounding that's saying that you're unlovable. Now, the beautiful thing about that is that can be changed, that can be healed, that can be transmuted into you growing this foundation of having love and compassion and kindness for yourself. Or let's say if you had a parent or a guardian that was incredibly critical of you and always very negative, and it was like almost like you took on their critical voice in adulthood and always had this critical voice going, it's going to be very hard for you to have a lot of love and compassion to the extent that you're able to for your kids, because that it's almost like a garden hose that got squeezed off. So there's this kink in the hose that is showing, that is from these traumatic experiences where you can't access, like if the kink was gone and the water can flow, that would be like when you heal that experience and you can allow that love to flow for yourself, that compassion, that kindness. When you're able to do that for yourself, you exponentially grow in your capacity to give that to your child. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. So the bottom line here is to do your own work, your own inner healing work, whatever that looks like. It can look very different for many different people, to heal those wounds so that you can love yourself, have compassion and kindness for yourself at a deeper level. And then that way it allows you to then pass that along to your kids. You can then show up in a totally different way for your kids. And when they're going through something, you can go to such a place of compassion and kindness that it really supports them. And maybe it really allows them to have someone really be with them and be present with them and allowing them to be seen and heard in a way that you were never seen and heard. And what I found in my own healing is that oftentimes with the healing work that I've done for myself And when I'm able to show up in a way, a much deeper way for my children, it actually heals my own inner children too, because I'm giving myself the experience that I did not receive as a child. All right. So, okay. The third thing is knowing who your children are at soul level. All right. What do I mean by that? All right. So here is where I use the Akashic Records. Now, if you've never heard of the Akashic Records, it's an energetic database. Every single soul has a record. So if you imagine, it's like the library, it's like a library, that card catalog, right? Like back in the day when there used to be a physical catalog where you would look up a book and it had a number and all this stuff. Well, our soul has that. And the record holds all of the choices that we've made in all of our lifetimes. And it also holds something called our divine soul blueprint. What that means is that who we are at our core, at our most authentic, what are the energies that are most abundant in us? What are the gifts? What are the things that are really unique to us? Okay. I use the Akashic Records to access this information for you and your child, because oftentimes there are going to be some similarities and some things that are probably very different. So when you can understand not only yourself on a deep level and then understand your child on a deep level, you can start to make choices that are more authentic for them. I've had parents, in doing this kind of reading for a child, I've had parents change schools that their child was going to. I've had parents completely shift how they relate to their child, which has opened up a lot of deep connection. And something that used to be kind of like always a butting of the heads and a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, it opens up to allow your child to be who they really are, not who you expect them to be or who you want them to be. So if all of this is resonating with you, and let me just be clear, is that this kind of offering is called the Parent-Child Karma Cleanse. And it is something as a very unique service that I offer. There isn't anyone else that I know of that offers anything like this. Something that kind of just really channeled through me. And it is for the parent. So this is not a reading for the mom and the child, meaning that they would be there at the same time. This is a reading for the parent specifically. So in this reading, we would go over, first of all, again, who the parent is at soul level, who the child is at soul level. How can you start to change your choices based on this information? We're going to look at societal or familial conditioning of how are you operating from a program that actually is no longer serving the relationship. It's actually not even, it's like hindering it's hindering the relationship. It's causing a lot of chaos and anxiety and disconnection. And then thirdly, we would look at what are some things that are coming up for you to heal from your own childhood, usually, that is impacting this relationship negatively as well. So it's like, what are the blocks that are preventing you from being able to really show up as the parent, as the kind, loving, caring, compassionate parent, or whatever it is, that kind of relationship you're looking to create with your child? What is blocking that? What is the inner work? What is the healing that is being invited for you to do in order to shift this relationship with your child so that you can really show up for them? Because I truly think that we are heading towards a mental health crisis with our kids. And I think that the answer is not in what seems easy. It's not in, it's not in, here, take this medication and just, make everything go away. It's actually in doing the tough work, which is really looking at how are you showing up as a parent, what needs to be healed within you, and how can you honor who you are and who your child is in a way that allows them to feel seen and heard and loved and accepted for who they really are. So it's called the Parent-Child Karma Cleanse. It's a 90-minute virtual recorded session that you will then receive the recording of afterwards, so you can watch it over and over and over again. It's incredibly powerful, and it can absolutely, completely shift the dynamic with you and your child. And if your child is experiencing some things like anxiety and depression, you even just showing up in a different way can open up a lot of possibilities for really being able to hear your child and see what kind of other support they may need, or that sometimes may be enough to really shift things. So after I'm off here, I will put the link for if you're interested in signing up, right? I'll put it in the comments below. And also, if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me, to comment below or private message me. I understand it is a private matter, but again, we have such an opportunity with all of the chaos, with all of the things that are happening in our life. It is really all happening because the way that we've been showing up, the way we've been relating, the way we've been conditioned to live and parent is no longer serving our children. It's no longer serving us. And it's time to look from a fresh perspective. And I believe that I can really help support you in seeing things in a way that you've never seen before. So, all right. Well, I look forward to speaking to you, and have a great day.